get your take on what's going on in the world today, because everything you're mentioning in terms of linear watching, in terms of what's going on in the digital world, has been something that people are worried about for traditional TV. So Netflix, Hulu. You made comments about Netflix yesterday. Are they foe or friend?
Well, look, Reed runs a great company. I think Netflix has a fantastic consumer interface. And rather than talk about Netflix specifically, it's that the way people used to get TV was through the TV set, multi-channel to the home by either a satellite or a cable, curated by us in the media business and by viewers making choices as to what they want. The good news is there are a lot of additional players that want to aggregate content. That could be a Samsung device, it could be an Apple device, it could be Netflix, could be Hulu, Amazon. From my perspective, looking at the industry, all of those are really, this is a little pejorative and it's an overstatement, but they're essentially dumb devices. And as great as each of those aggregators are or devices are, they only come to life if you put great content on there. And so we as an industry, Apple is a fantastic device. But ultimately, if it doesn't have great content, if you pull out your iPhone and when you want to see something fun, you can't see it.
They need your content.
Right. They need our content.
Right.
And, I think that we don't quite get that as an industry. And so when an SVOD provider comes and says, I want your content, we as an industry should say, okay, you can have our content, but here's how we think it should work. The problem with those SVOD platforms is there's no brands. The economics are really inferior. And if we worked with those devices and created the right economic model, I think it could be a positive. Right now, I think what we're doing is we're feeding those platforms. Those platforms are trading at higher multiples than we are. And we're the ones that have the juice. We're the ones that have the content that bring those alive.
Right.
So I think we're excited that all those platforms exist. We have to be more rational about having more of a say as to how that content goes on the platform and what the economics are.
Like for example, what if one of these guys decides they want to do live sports? I mean, look at the story today in terms of the potential for live sports on Facebook, on some of these other digital properties. That totally competes with you.
Well, look, I think that right now a lot of these devices have provided great opportunity. When you think about Facebook, 2 months ago we sat down with the Facebook crew with Zuckerberg and talked about what their vision was. And it's a very compelling company. Right now, we really use Facebook aggressively to let big social communities know about the shows that we have on our channels everywhere in the world.
Right, it's a vehicle for you.
It's been a huge vehicle for us. The announcement this morning on Facebook is, I think, a very smart play where the NBA and Turner are going to use the Facebook community to energize kind of a live event around watching on Turner. And so the social devices in particular, I think, could be particularly exciting. And, one of the things about SVOD versus live TV, which the Facebook initiative shows with Turner, is a big piece of TV is watching together. It's watching and calling your friends and saying, have you seen this? Or going to work the next day and say, did you see what was on last night on Discovery? Or,
right, exactly.
Or
I was just going to say that, actually, yeah.
And the SVOD is really an alone platform. And, I think Netflix is a great product. HBO is a great product. A lot of those viewing products you view kind of as a addition to live TV. So when 2 months ago there was this discussion about what's happening to the cable bundle, the cable bundle is going to be relatively healthy for a very long time. Now, it is declining a little bit, 1%, 1.5%, but it is still the way people watch TV. It'll be the way people watch TV over the next 3 to 5 years. The question is, in 7, 8, or 9 years,
or in 10 years,
is there going to be, in 10 years, will there be a sea change? But it's still it's a great offering, and content needs to be curated.
Yeah, but which is why, though, you have to get ahead of this stuff and make sure you're strategic in terms of what content you're putting out there on some of these other networks that are, well, they're not networks, but these other distributions that could be actually a competitor at some point.
At some point. Yeah. And, what we're doing in Europe with Eurosport now is we're taking a lot of our content and we're putting it directly to consumers. We have a Eurosport app that we get paid about. We have a couple of 100,000 people that pay us. So if you have the right content, you can put it on a free-to-air channel. You could put it on a linear channel. You could also market it directly to consumers. And if they want to see the French Open or Tour de France or the Olympics, they can pay you directly.
Wow.
That didn't happen, 3, 4, 5 years ago. That's an option now.
Really exciting stuff. You sure are in the sweet spot of it all. David, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you so much for joining us. David Zaslav is the CEO at Discovery Communications. We'll be right back.